Pottery peeps. So I was able to get, if you watched last week, this is a continuation of last week. Because last week we made, well, I didn't make this one. I made this textured, let's see, this textured roller. So I'm going to make a mug out of this. I didn't get the Tree of Life roller that we also made in that video. It didn't get fired. It needed, mainly because I'm getting cracks on it. And so I've got to fix these now. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip that in some water and get it wet. I've had to do this twice now for some reason. I don't know if it's the bee mix or if it's the texture was too deep and I didn't have the roller thick enough. Anyway, so I'll dip that in some water, let it rehydrate a little bit, hopefully fix those cracks, and I'll let you know when I get that one fired or if I have to remake it. So, but this one turned out great. Of course you can't. This one turned out great, so I'm gonna make a mug out of that. And this one that I'm super excited, we're gonna make a platter, a fish platter, out of this one. Now, those of you who didn't catch that video, I'll just do a quick recap. When I was cleaning out all my drawers and organizing and so forth, I found this platter that I had carved decades ago. Seriously, over 15, maybe even longer. Anyway, so I'm gonna make a fish platter out of this. As you can tell, it's cracked and it's broken, so it doesn't work as a mold anymore. And so I made a roller. I pressed the clay into this, rolled it up. So we're gonna try this out and see if it works. And again, I haven't done it before. You get to see it on camera, if it works or not. But my fish platters have evolved since that one. And so this is another fish platter that I do. And I carved this into, and so I'm gonna make a roller out of this design also, because I really love this design. I don't know, the glare, I'm getting a lot of glare. Anyway, I also freehand the platter, and I literally just freehanded on, it's not newspaper, it's heavier than that. It's not cardboard, but it's somewhere in between. And I was smart enough then too to make myself a bisque mold. So I can, after we roll this fish in, hopefully it'll work, we'll see. It works on the other fish, but we'll see if it works on this one. I will put it into this mold to let it dry, okay? So let's go ahead and we're gonna do this one first, and then I will do a quick mug out of the bear. I'm super excited about the bear. But well, I'm stoked about both of these. You know, we're a fishing family. Alaska, this definitely is an Alaskan design or Northwest design. Anyway, so I'm really, really stoked. I've already got a slab rolled out. I'm working with Laguna's bee mix, with speckled bee mix. And the reason I wanted to do the speckle, not only does the speckle, this was done on, I think this was done with, it's a groggy bee mix, probably with sand, just in case it goes in the oven. And the speckle, the Laguna speckle, kind of acts, the speckle itself, the magnesium flecks act kind of like a grog. It gives a little bit more stability. I was afraid that if I did this in bee mix, that it'd be more fragile. Plus, the really cool thing about the magnesium flecks, if I do a dark colored glaze on them, they tend to look like glitter or stars. And so I'll probably do a dark blue like this. Again, I made this a very, very long time ago. This is in that same time frame as the others. I seem to recall it might be Pam's Blue by Coyote. Not sure though. So it's been that long ago. All right, so let's go ahead and I will lower you down and we'll see if this works. I'm moving you over here because this is a long thing to roll out, and I need to be able to roll it out. I was afraid that if I went it the other way, I wouldn't get a good impression. I am gonna kind of take my pattern to see. Let's see, I've got everything in the wrong place now. I'm just going to, whoa, that was close. I almost don't have enough clay. I also know it'll stretch a little bit. So I'm just going to give myself an idea of where this is. So I know where I need to kind of hopefully center my fish. I did roll this out to 3/8. So I do have some extra clay here. If I need to make it longer, I can. So let's go ahead and get that on there. And hopefully, let's see. Well, you know what? We're just going to go for it. And I'm not sure exactly where the fish is going to fall, if it's going to be long enough. Also, one of you said that to be careful with making rollers like this, that they would shatter or break. I've never had that happen. This is a bigger roller. And then they're usually the smaller rollers. So this is a bigger roller. So we'll see. But I want to get a good, you know what, to carve this fish took hours. And I mean hours. And look at this. Look at how good he's coming out. All right. Following another fish. Woo! That is awesome. I am just stoked. All right, so let me go ahead and get my lines from the roller out. And I'm actually going to take these guys out too, since I kind of know where it's at. We'll smooth it all out, and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. Because that was just to give me an idea. As I have done more of these type of platters, I've gotten smarter. Making the work less work, you know? So I need to get my sponge. All right, so I'm just gonna smooth out all my lines around my fish. Oh, I just can't believe how great he looks. There is one area here. Also, I hope I can get some of the noise out. It is Saturday morning on Memorial Day weekend. Everybody is out playing. Everybody's headed up to the canyon. Everybody's mowing those that are not headed up to the canyon, they're mowing their yards. So there's a lot of noise around me. Since I'm up here on the bench, it acts like an amphitheater below me, which is sometimes really cool, but when you're trying to film, not necessarily. So hopefully it doesn't come out too noisy on the video. We'll find out. All right, so there are some places here that I want more of an impression. So I'm just gonna come in with the little finger tool and just kind of push those in a little bit. Because, you know, I could have gone over this after I'd pressed it, but I didn't. So I am pretty stoked with how well this came out. All right, just make those just a little deeper because they were a little light. And that could have been also due to me, however I was pressing it. But you know me, gotta fiddle. All right. Oh, this is cool. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and move you because I know the lighting's bad because the sun's behind me, even though we're on a cloudy day. So let me go ahead and switch the camera so we have better lighting. So I'm going to pick up my fish and I'm going to just trying to make it centered, you know, making sure I'm in the middle of my mold. So this is why you make things like this, you guys, because rather than cutting it out, and I mean, seriously, to carve this fish, I am not exaggerating with the amount of hours, sometimes days, because your hand cramps. And so go through the work of doing that once, you know, and then make yourself a roller. Do you know how many of these I'm going to be able to do? Be able to just almost mass produce these. Okay, hopefully we're getting really cloudy today on this Memorial Day. I'm going to turn some more lights on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab my knife. Find my knife. And we're going to just cut some of this extra off so it's easier for me to do what, oops, dang it. So I did not actually, okay, I'm all right. Just cutting some of this. All right, so now I am going to actually press this in without touching my fish. It's a shallow platter. It's perfect though for a fillet. I can put a whole salmon fillet on this thing, you know, or like at the holidays, it actually works really, really great for a charcuterie board. It's amazing what you can use this thing for. But I haven't made a lot of them within the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, because I didn't think to do this. I wasn't as smart then as I am now. And I didn't like making them because they took so much time. All right, just want to make sure I'm down. I'm going to take my wire and we are going to set this up. Hold on, so I can turn it. Pretty long. Let's move you. Let's raise you up just a touch. And then when I do this, I keep this straight up and down. And I can follow along my mold and take this off. I usually will go around it twice just to make sure that I did a good job. So now you can see I do platters thicker than mugs or things like that, because platters tend to get, you know, some wear and tear. They're big. They tend to crack. You know, they're just abused. Just with the nature of how they're used. And so I tend to make them a little thicker. And that also helps with the warping. At least I have found that it helps with the warping. So you can see how I'm just actually taking bites with this. So I don't take too much. Find out where my mold is. Yeah, and I just freehanded this design. Play, you guys. Find a design that you like. Play with it with paper, and then cut it out of. I never cut that out of foam board. I made that so long ago. Hadn't even found foam or craft foam. Oh, we have just come a long way in the journey. You just learn all these tricks, you know. All right. So that is the sharp corner that I will soften with my sponge as I soften this edge up. I usually will wait until things get leather hard. You can also, well, this has got some nooks and crannies. So depending on how you make your design, you don't have to have all these little nooks and crannies. You could do a rasp to clean up your edges. But because I've got all these swirls, I basically did this to make it look like water, you know? With water ebbs and flows and so forth. And then I usually do a design on the edge too. I'm gonna grab my sponge here in a minute, but I'm gonna clean up all my clay before it dries out so I can roll it out again and we will make a mug with the other one. Oh, I'm so excited. So for now, I'm just going to come in and soften this top edge. I'll worry about the other one when I take it out of the mold. And just go around it and take my sponge. I might take my finger really, if I take my finger, I do it like at a 45 and really soften it, which I like actually. I will hit that corner so it's not sharp and just go completely around it. I did a pretty good job getting this in the center. I'm pretty happy with that. And then I'm gonna just let this set up. If I remember, I just remembered when I did the lines around here. I don't know if I'm going to though. I might like put a dark color and then add some of the Spectrum's Pearl White, and then it'll run and look like froth sea mist. I might do that on this one. And I don't know, we'll see. I haven't decided, but I do know that I carved that out rather than pressing it in. And I need it to stiffen up before I do that. Anyway, this gives you an idea of how to do this. Isn't that just amazing? Huh? All right, I'm gonna let it set up over there. Also, I will weigh it down with weight bags and I'll cover it and let it slowly dry, all right? Okay, so I rolled up my scraps from the platter, and this one is thinner. I rolled it out a tick above a quarter, and I do the tick because, of course, I had to smooth this, make sure I didn't have any air bubbles because it was the remnants of the platter. So there was a lot more smoothing involved than if it was just fresh clay. And I'm also going to press the roller into it. And so you want to make sure, depending on what you're pressing, that your clay isn't too thin, that you press through it, right? Okay, I'm going to turn it this direction. And of course, these air bubbles, you know, I can't wedge with my shoulder yet, or I can't wedge big pieces, or I can't wedge for long. And so I basically slammed my scraps together, and it's amazing how you still see little air bubbles popping up. All right. So I'm gonna go with, I don't know what this is gonna look like at the end, but I've got a template that's 6 by 12. It's my tankard and also my medium pitcher size. And this is just under 6 inches. And so I figured start with that. I don't know if it'll end up being the 12-inch size. We'll find out after we roll it. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like rolled. Actually, ooh, the trees look good. And I am actually putting quite a bit of pressure. I did not get his foot. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and keep going because I don't know where I'm gonna cut this guy. Okay, that's pretty awesome too. Yay, I hope that's coming. I hope you're picking that up on the camera. Let me just see if I can pick this up without distorting it too much. Hopefully you can see we've reached that time of day where it's hard to see in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it to face me so I can see what I'm doing. And again, I'm going to smooth out from the roller, just smooth all that out. And I might add, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add in the words, be wild. You know, both of these projects that I'm doing would be perfect for Father's Day. You've heard me talk about spirit animals. My husband's spirit animal is the bear. And plus, I don't know, dads, to me, they're always bears. You know? All right, that looks really cool. Let's see, where is this going to hit? Because I don't know where. Probably there. So what I want to do, this is let me grab one of my, I've got this multiple cookie cutter set, and I can link that for you. I need to make an Amazon store because I have so many things. But what I do is lightly, very, very lightly, if I'm going to do words above my bear, I'm going to very, very lightly give myself half a circle. So now I have, let me move a little closer. Well, maybe not. Well, I think I was okay where I was. Okay. Now, when to be wild, these are my Lucinda stamps, and they are a MKM stamp. I will warn you, they are pricey, but I've never regretted buying them. I absolutely love them. They also have these little notches, so you know which direction to put your letters. So when you're doing, this is back to school, when you're trying to find the center of your words, okay, so basically so I've got 6, but I need a space, so 7 is the space. So then that makes my middle, which is really cool, is the wild, is W is my middle. So I'm going to go off of my middle finger on my bear paw and put the W in. This Lucinda TUVW is somewhat italics, okay? So they're a little bit slanted, which I like. And then I will continue with my letters around my circle. So this is a quick, easy way to center your words and get them where you want them. This is my method anyway. I'm sure there's many. All right, so you got to do everything backwards. So remember, we got to have a space there. So I got to leave a space. And all right, so now I've got Be Wild. And these are all in alphabet order, and they all go back in alphabet order. So I am never hunting for, oops, put the L in the I, so I'm never hunting for my letters. All right. That's cool. And then I will just carefully come in here. Get my finger a little wet. You could actually make a permanent line there if you wanted to. But I'm gonna go ahead and smooth it out. Actually, where is my, there we go. I got a small red rib that will be a little bit more helpful so I don't ruin my letters. So they're just kind of floating there. Oh, this is fun. This would fit either one of my sons too. My one son this weekend is up in the Wasatch Mountains playing, and it's only 70 degrees down here for our high, and we're overcast, so chances are he's 45 or 50, and if it rains, he actually I don't think it'll be 50. He's at 8,000 feet. He might get snow if it rains. He'll be fine though. All my kids can survive pretty much anything and have since they grew up spending their summers in the wilds of Alaska. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this out and let's make ourselves a mug. All right, okay. I'm just gonna line this up. Gotta make sure I want to actually leave. I know that I am over on this edge, so I am gonna make it smaller than 12 inches. Or am I? Maybe I won't. Maybe we'll just come in a little bit. And go ahead and cut this guy at the top. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it here. I'm just doing straight cuts just to get it out so I can see what I'm working with. Okay. Almost have enough for another one. If I let me show you real quick. Just pull this guy out of the way. Because I will roll my slab up a couple of more times when it's like this. And what I've learned to do is to take my scraps, put them together like this to try to minimize any air bubbles getting in, since I'm having trouble wedging to get them out. So I will do this where I will push all that clay in and make sure I try to, just to, and then I'll hit it with a rolling pin to kind of smash it. And that tends to help. It doesn't get rid of all of them. I still get some, but I don't get a ton. Oh, I should have kept some out for a bottom. Gonna have to roll this. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get our mug together, and then I will roll this out. Okay, let's bring this over. And I am going to soften this edge so it's nice to drink out of. And I don't think I cut that all that straight. That's okay. Also, when I turn it over, sometimes when you're rolling, your clay's wet, it sticks to the table. So I'm going to smooth the inside of this right now, so I don't have to smooth it later when it's a little bit more difficult. Okay. Always some different tips and tricks when you're watching, because you never know what you're going to deal with when you're making something. So these are just, and I am pressing this a little bit, flattening it out some as I am smoothing it. Okay. This is cool. One thing I think I'm going to do though, I have a roller, MKM one again, that it's this one, I'll link it. I'm not sure. I'll warn you though, you get on their site. It has the letters, but I can't read them. But I'll go ahead and link it. But don't you think, since this is a speckled clay, that it'd be kind of fun to do some northern lights? I'm actually going to, I think it'll be easier if I do it this way. I like this roller because it works for water, and northern lights actually look like water. So I'm just gonna, why isn't it rolling? Let's go ahead and smooth that and start that again. So I'm just gonna give it, since I have the space, it's not, I actually kind of like doing this where not all the space is, why is it doing that? I must have some clay or something there that's blocking it. Oh, I'll mess with that later. So I'll just do it by hand. So I'm just gonna come in, go around this and pivot around my letters and just kind of give us some northern light action, you know? Actually, I'm gonna leave that out for a second. I'll probably make more than one of these mugs today. I've got that extra clay. I'm just gonna soften these. I plan to put, you know, glazes that's gonna blend, so it doesn't have to be a perfect roll, you know, but just give us the, you know, impression of northern lights. All right, so let's go ahead and make a mug out of this guy. I think I need to cut this again though, because I did all of that. So let's do that. Just give it something straight to start with. All right. I might have to smooth that some more. You could technically just leave the cookie cutter there for the lines, but anyway. All right, so now I'm going to cut these guys at a 45. This is the best tool. Again, if you're going for speed, because you know, the faster you can make something, the more you can make, more money technically you can make, you know, because the longer it takes to make something, the more you should be charging. And so anything that you can use to cut down your time on certain things like that, do it. And that is definitely a tool. I'll see if I can find that too. Yeah, I definitely need to do an Amazon store. My daughter keeps telling me, Tess. By the way, I will link Tess, her YouTube channel. She put up a video this week that is so darling. If you caught the video on the kiln opening that I put up, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday? I'm not sure. My week I work every day, or I play every day, so I don't really keep an eye on what day it is, unless there's something going on. But she put up this adorable video on this chicken mug that she painted. Super, super cute. All right, now I need to decide if I'm actually, I cut that and got it all prepared, but I don't know if I want the mug this big or not. So let's go ahead and see how big it is. It is for a guy, you know, it's a bear. So we'll just go with it. And I'm just putting these guys together. And I do plan to smooth all of this. Let me go ahead and tip it over, and because what's nice with, you know, doing the rolling pins, don't get me wrong, I love the rolling pins, but they're so heavily textured that you, where is my, oh, it fell down, dang it, I can't reach it. All right, let's use this. They're so heavily textured that if you want to hide the seam, it's kind of difficult to hide the seam. And in those cases, I suggest that you highlight the seam, make it a feature. But on something like this, I can actually hide the seam. So I'm just, and also I love being able to roll against the seam and really press it together so there's no, it just eliminates any cracking or that seam coming apart. So, and this of course will be where my handle goes. To keep this video short, you guys have seen me do handles. I probably won't put a handle on it on film, just so that this video doesn't get too long. We're all limited on time, right? Actually, I'm gonna turn this over and do the bottom. Let's go ahead and bring this out a little bit so it's easier for my roller to get to it, or lift it up, I guess. If I wanted to do a design, I could definitely press a design here too, but my handle's going to go here. And I'll probably put a tree on my handle. I'll get that a little bit out right there. Sometimes it's helpful just to carefully set it down. Press this way. I have a big tube. That's what I was after. A piece of art I ordered came in this big tube, and I use it out here all the time, but it fell and I can't reach it. It's underneath my slab roller. So I'll have to get someone like the grandkids who can get on their knees and have them get it for me. They'll think it's fun. Alright, so let me just, and since I kept this out, we're gonna just add a little bit of that in, even though my handle will go there. And then I'll just quickly address the inside. Maybe, ouch. Don't have your sharp tools sticking out, guys. Ah. Where is mine? This thing's getting redone for my, it's a mess, so it's getting redone. I actually just bisque fired the piece. And then I'll glaze it and hopefully it'll work. So by doing the seams this way, it just gives me a lot of confidence that I'm not going to have any issue. There's nothing worse than spending time like this on something and then you fire it, and sometimes it'll make it through the bisque, and then sometimes it'll crack in the glaze, and it's so defeating. So I have found ways to try to eliminate being defeated by the clay. So if you're fairly new to this and don't have a lot of experience hand building, highly recommend that you finish off your seams this way. You'll be much happier. All right, I am going to get my trusty flower pot out. I like to round off that bottom as well as the top, but since we are working on the bottom right now, and you know what, I actually might do, let's give it some shape. Okay, so if you take, since it's against the flower pot, I'm just going to give it a little shape. Kind of push that in a little bit against that flower pot is what I'm doing. To kind of give it more than just up and down, you know. Especially with hand building, it's hard to give shape, and I don't have a lot of clay here to open up, and I don't really want to open up, but I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a shape there. And I got to roll out some more clay. So hold please, I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my slab, and actually the way I rolled it, I hopefully can get another, I just kind of marked it with the pattern, and I can get some bottoms. I went ahead and found a cookie cutter that's going to fit this. So let's go ahead and get that cut out, and we'll get this one finished. And actually, until I can get back to it, it's just common practice. If you're in a hot place, even though it's not hot today, there still is no humidity in the air. I'm one of those places when I go back home to Alaska or I go to Hawaii, even when I was in Florida one time, I just love the humidity. My hair, my nails, my skin, I just absolutely love it. Especially in Alaska and Hawaii, those two, you get off the plane and you just breathe it in, and it's like the air it's so clean and it's so fresh, and it's just giving you an internal hug or an internal cleansing. I don't know what to call it, but I just absolutely love it. Being dried out like a raisin, weather or the humidity, it just treats us like vampires, just drying us out. So this is my bottom. I'm going to go ahead and add another bear paw, because why not? So we'll have a bear paw on the bottom and one on the mug. Oops. Again, I always have to restamp that side. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add my maker's mark under it. Cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and score this puppy up and let's get her done. Oh, again, I will smooth my bottom. That's going to be on the inside. Okay, and you've seen this many, many times, how to do this. But I'm going to score this guy. I think I'm going to finish this though, so it has more of a true tankered foot. We'll see. We'll see if it works out. And then score this one. And we will get them joined together. Okay, so my bear's here. Bear paw, bear paw. It's like he's taking one big step. Fun. All right, make sure I'm centered there. I tack it down by just going around with my finger. And then this is how I like to do it. I am gonna roll it in. Dry piece of clay there, and then I'm going to roll this into And then if you get a bunch of the slip, just clean off your roller. Then I'm gonna roll again. Just really get a good seal there. Okay, let's clean that up. You know, I just might, I could add another texture here. I also will push in my bottom, just a touch. It helps too on that inner seal, and it actually kind of acts like you gave it a foot, you know, because you did. So it's a little bit got a depression. Let's see, how much room do I have here? Oh, I think if I added texture, I would cover up my bear. So we won't do texture on this one. But I am going around with my finger at a 45. You could do this with a wooden tool too. But I tend to use my fingers for everything, or as much as I can. So you can tell, kind of got a depression. I kind of have a thicker, you know, foot there. Okay, so now we need to address the inside, clean that up. And I just take my brush wet and then just go around and gather up any extra slip, because it's a slip that's going to crack on you. I know that this joint is really well sealed. But if you leave, that slip will dry faster than the clay, and that's going to be what gives you a crack. Sometimes I will take a little wooden tool, put it there in the corner and go around just to make sure, like if the brush didn't reach, I will do that. And then if it left any tool marks, I will get rid of those. I routinely get people, it's like, how did you make this? And when I tell them it's hand built, they don't believe it. But okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the bottom. Just going to kind of push it in, just to give me a little more shape. I think we'll see if I like it. I like it on the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to like it on the top. We'll see. But these flower pots, very helpful, because you can push against them. Oh, let's see where I still have a little bit of a mark. Actually, I kind of like that. And what, by doing this too, pushing it against and also giving it more of a shape, it helps with my warping, because I've given the clay a new memory. And this is going to be, there we go. All right. I think I'm going to leave this here. I'm not going to show doing the handle. I've shown so many handles, and I don't want this to get too long. But I will put a picture at the end of it finished. It's actually too wet right now to do a handle anyway, and I've got to be somewhere later, so I'm not going to have time to film it. So just, yep, here I am, fiddling away. Just can't help myself. All right, that's going to be it for me today. So, sorry, I really got to invest in a better stand. I just got to find one that I like. All right, so that's it for me today with this and the amazing, let's see if I can get the trees in there. So there's my little forest that he came out of, and my handle will go here. That actually turned out pretty cool. Kind of like that. Yeah, wait for the pictures to see them finished, or at least not glaze finished, but finished with the handle. And next week, so many of you really want to see those bunny gnomes that I showed in the kiln opening. And so we're going to be doing the bunny gnomes with the egg. Okay? All right, even though it's not Easter, we're still going to do it. Then you have plenty of time to make them next year. Or you know what? They're cute. Have them every year. I think bunnies work all year long. Those are the kind of bunnies I want in my garden, not the actual bunny. All right, go get muddy, and we will catch you next week.